Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today, we have a resource person with us, Mr. Devdutt Sarma. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. Before moving forward, just a brief introduction of Sri Devdutt Sarma ji. Mr. Devdutt Sarma hold MSc degree in geology from prestigious government PG College, Narnaul, Haryana, and it's matter of immense pleasure for us because he is our alumni, and he also hold the MBA degree and have over 40 years of experience in hydrocarbon exploration industry. He has worked with reputed national and international oil companies like ONGC, Reliance Industries, Essar Oil, Qatar Petroleum, and Australian Oilex Limited, from geologist to top management level position. So it is a great honor for us having you with us, sir. Now I would like to request our resource person, please start presentation, sir.
Thank you, Professor J.P. Banwala. Very nice to have me here. I'm very much thankful, and in fact, I appreciate your efforts. You have very well engaged the industry professionals having diversified geological experience over the years for the benefit of the knowledge and upgradation of their technological experience. In fact, you have very much optimal utilization of this COVID period, and without wasting any time for physical attendance of the students, and students are very much benefited with this your efforts. So thank you so much once again. So as you are aware that presently we are covering the topic of hydrocarbon exploration in India with new concepts and new technologies. So as I can say, you may be aware, worldwide hydrocarbons, oil and gas have been discovered based on the concepts, geological concepts. So there was thinking in general, oil is in the mind of geologists. So worldwide oil and gas discoveries are based on concepts, and concepts or say thinking have been changed over the time. So as a layman, we can say old oil was discovered with old concepts. New oil was discovered with concepts, and no oil if no concepts. So we say this topic what we are covering today is very much relevant in the present day context. So we will be covering this topic under 5 headings. First, we'll be discussing present hydrocarbon scenario in India, then current exploration trend, then new concepts of exploration, new technology of exploration, and exploration strategy recommended, that is integrated exploration strategy. So coming to the present hydrocarbon scenario, we have about 26 sedimentary basins in India, covering an area of about 3.36 square kilometers. That is in old land, offshore, shallow water, and deep water. Deep water more than 400 meters of water depth of the sea. So out of that, we have just explored only 30%, 1/3 of the area. Rest 70% area is still unexplored. So in this area, we have estimated total hydrocarbon resources about 35 billion tons. Of this, established hydrocarbon resources are 12 billion tons, of which 7 billion tons belong to oil and 5 billion tons equivalent to gas. Present day production is of course sharply declining. Earlier we were producing about 45 million tons of per annum, but now it has been declined since last 6 years to 32 million tons, 32.6 million tons precisely. And gas production is 32 billion cubic meter per day. So we are just meeting our 15% requirement, and we are importing 85% of our oil gas from the outside countries. So therefore our main objective is to enhance indigenous production. We have got since huge area unexplored and huge resources to be discovered, to increase our self-sufficiency level to at least 30%. So that is our main objective. This is the map of sedimentary basins of India, total sedimentary. So basically we have categorized into 3 categories. Earlier there were 4 categories, now we have revised into 3 categories basin as per PRMS, Petroleum Resource Management System framework. We have reclassified hydrocarbon resources based on SPAPG norms. So Category 1 basins are basins which are having reserves, recoverable hydrocarbon reserves, and which are producing oil and gas. So there are 7 category 1 basins like which are indicated in red color: Cambay, Rajasthan, Krishna Godavari, Kaveri, Assam Self, Assam Arakan, and Mumbai High. Then category 2 basins are which have got contingent hydrocarbon resources, where oil and gas indications are there by drilling, but production has not yet started. So they have got contingent resources. So there are 5 such basins: Kutch, Saurashtra, Mahanadi, Andaman, Nicobar, and Vindhyan basins, yellow color. And then we have got 14 basins which are the continuing prospective hydrocarbon resources, which are yet to be discovered. So those are 14 basins from the north, say Himalayan fold belt, Spiti, Jhansar, Ganga, Punjab Valley, Bengal, Purnia, Kerala, Konkan, Kadapa, Bhima, Kaladgi, like that. So many other basins like. So resources are enough, based on which we can become self-sufficient. We carried out production potential for about 30 years. So we have got the oil resources which can have potential to produce 233 million tons per annum against the present 32 million tons. So huge reserve production is there, based on which India can become self-sufficient if you carry out systematic hydrocarbon exploration. Similar to the gas, against say 32 billion cubic meter, we have got about 167 billion cubic meter per day potential. So we have got huge resources. Current exploration trend. So as I discussed, exploration trends have changed over time. So how the exploration trends have changed? It has been changed from reservoir driven to source driven. Identification source rock is very much important, because source rock which generates or produces oil and gas, just like a female gives birth to the son and daughter, like that. Human beings and natural principles are the same. Similarly, we have moved from the structure-driven exploration to source depositor-driven exploration. Merely identifying structure is not giving us guarantee of finding oil and gas. We have to see what kind of depositor environment were there in deposition of those sediments and how that structure was evolved. Even buried channels which are not as structured but having reservoir characteristics, there are chances of hydrocarbons. So earlier we have done so many big structures having thick sands reservoirs, but we are not able to getting success in areas like Himalayan fold beds. We have drilled over so many thrusted fold structure. Along Konkan, we have drilled so much big coral reef structures, but we were not successful because we did not care for identifying source. We did not drill any wells in the vicinity of source. Anyway, that will present us case studies further. Then second is defining entrapment conditions precisely. How the oil and gas got entrapped. Primarily based on say, textbook example, there were 3 primary elements of petroleum trap: source, reservoir, and seal. So seal is also very important, how the oil and gas got accumulated, so that oil and gas should not move away from the reservoir rocks. So identification of sealing faults, or from instead of conventional structure, hydrodynamic entrapment conditions. What are the entrapment structure, hydrodynamic entrapment conditions that there, and even stratigraphic entrapment conditions are there. We are able to find oil and gas. So these concepts we have proved in the field. All these textbook examples of source, reservoir, seal we have proved in the field. Then identify new plays and prospects in new areas. So that we have in totality, we have to carry out the basin modeling and total petroleum system approach. Total petroleum system approach, you mean that how much oil got generated in the source rock, how much got expelled from the source rock, how much volume of the hydrocarbon generated got accumulated in the source rock, and what was the timing of migration. In the totality, we carry out material balance equation of the entire basin, and then we just move for exploration. And then this, as a layman, I can say study regionally, focus locally. So focus on regional geological and analogical studies is very much important. Suppose if you are exploring in India, we should along the bordering areas like Rajasthan, we should see what is happening in Pakistan. So for geology, there are no political boundaries or state boundaries. So geological, entire earth is made of the rocks. So I'll give us example also, say one interesting example. In the year 2000, we were attending Petrotech conference in New Delhi. So in fact, in privatization, we are very slow. We opened our petroleum sector only in 1995, whereas neighboring countries like Pakistan and Bangladesh opened their sector to private MNCs long back. So all around the bordering area in Pakistan, that was awarded to a British company, Tullow Oil Company, and their geologist, Mr. Julio Chieri, he was interacting with me. So, and asking Mr. Sharma, we are finding difficulty how to go about in exploration. We got block in your bordering Rajasthan, but we are nowhere. Then I told him, gentlemen, if you are exploring in Pakistan, you should see what is happening in India. So in fact, we have mapped that Rajasthan area and we identified one structure, Sara anticline. So half of the anticline is in India and half of the anticline is extending in Pakistan. So that we published in our All Asia Journal. So luckily I was having that journal and I showed that map. You see, Mr. Siriani, that's half the structure is extending in Pakistan, but we could not drill near the border because of the international consideration. We remained away 25 kilometers from the border. So you drill there and you'll get success. So ultimately, based on that lead, they drilled the well into the Sara structure and they got success in finding gas. And they are producing almost about 250 megawatt of electricity by that gas. And you may be surprised, we are just struggling only with 50 megawatt or 100 megawatt of power plant in Ramgarh. We could not upgrade that plant and we could not discover more of the gas beside that Gotaru, Manari Tibba, Bhankri Tibba in that Rajasthan area. Because we did not drill well near the border. So we did not apply new concepts. Anyway, so that was an example offshoot of this. Then taking leads from direct hydrocarbon indications is also very much important, like seepage oil gas. So you may be knowing that how Dubai oil was discovered based on the oil seepages observed on the oil stains observed on the foot of the elephants while laying down the railway track by Britishers. So that person they got how this very good oil, how it got from that elephant. So they drilled that well in the Tinsukia district near the Digboi, what we call the Digboi, and how it derived Digboi. They used the wooden drilling rig at that time, and that demoed that Digboi field. And we have in 1970 itself when I was in the MSc previous geology there. So that they drilled that well, Digboi 1, and they got oil there. So likewise, same way, Kande field also was discovered in the seepages, gas bubbles observed in the pond while we were carrying out geological survey and the seismic survey in that Kande field. So proceeding from taking the lead from DHI is very much important. Fluorescence in the cutting is very much important. Oil and gas shows while drilling important. In coring also, drilling in the rocks which are containing oil and gas, the drilling becomes faster. Then hydrocarbon indications on the seismic features also. So very interesting example of the chimney features. Chimney, you maybe know, is a symbol of the escape of gas from the seabed to the waters at the surface. So you may be wondering that the Ecofish oil field of North Sea was discovered based on chimney features observed in the sea bathymetric data. And similar chimney features we observed in offshore in Krishna Godavari deep water. So taking analogy of Ecofish North Sea field, we discovered giant deep water gas in KG basin, KGD6. Similar chimney feature observed in the sea bathymetric data, and we applied geological concept, tectonic concept. As you may be aware that all our Indian, Australian, Antarctican plates were joined together, and it was forming a part of the Pangea. So they drifted apart with respect to continental drifting theory. So they left it triangular plume offshore Machilipatnam, 10 to 15 kilometers away from the coast in Bay of Bengal. So then we could see, yes, there is a hotspot feature. Definitely, there are indications of gas. If you are not able to find oil, we will be definitely discovering gas. We did the first awarded through new exploration license quality 1, and we discovered giant. So that these are very important. We concepts in the field. And the well logs also. Earlier we were just finding oil and gas in that strata interval having the resistivity of 8 to 10 ohm oil and 10 to 15 ohm meter gas. But based on water saturation calculation by the log analysis or petrophysics, etc., they were declaring all sand bearing, all entire water bearing. So, but we discovered oil and gas having water 100% or water saturation declared by the discovered new field in the Limboja. So there, that oil bearing interval was indicating 1.5 ohm resistivity, and that well was about to be abandoned. But I asked my chief geologist to at least allow me to test that well. And that well got tested with my intervention. We got oil and gas. How we got? Otherwise, that resistivity was entire. It was just like a shale-based line. It was showing 1.5 ohm resistivity. But there were things a little bit above 1.5 to 1.5 ohm resistivity. So those were lithologically composed of the clay minerals. Clay minerals, you know that morillonite illites. So they have got water molecule, bounded water molecule at molecular level. But that water will never able to be released irreducible water saturation, but that will low resistivity. Only water filled in the interconnected pore spaces will be produced. So based on that concept, I got that tested, and then that's what that led to the new concept of low resistivity oil reservoirs. So these are very interesting examples. This is regional analogy of the world basin. Like that, say Krishna Godavari, Bay of Bengal, we have got analogy with the nearby Australian, West Australian, Indonesian basin, Java, Sumatra area, and westwards Gulf of Mexico and composed basin of Brazil. Similar Arabian basin comprising Mumbai high basin fields, we have got analogy in West Africa, Eastern African countries like Mozambique and Tanzania have also discovered huge gas resources. So these analogies are very much important in the present day. So coming to the new, considering these aspects of the new concept, new thinking, new trends. So we have devised one concept of proceeding from known to unknown. First, we should know where the oil hydrocarbon we have been discovered. Then we should proceed in which area we should be able to move based on that concepts. So because that can reduce the risk of exploration on uncertainty. So that proceeding from known to unknown, we have devised three-pronged exploration strategy, and that we applied especially in calibration. First is well-wise analysis, based on well log analysis or other geoscientific data. Study of all means wells, kinds of wells, whether it's dry, abundant, producing, non-producing, or poor producers, or water injectors well. So those detailed well-wise studies are needed. Based on that, we have discovered one new field in the new period block that I'll be coming out, letting you know that subsequently. Then field-wise analysis to find new pays within the known field, beside the known pays at shallow level and deeper level. And so that because we have already discovered in middle level, so we have to find new oil pays at shallow and deeper level based on this concept. And finding field actions also in the peripheral area. So that concept we have applied. Then basin wise. So entire basin needs to be studied to find new poles and prospects beside the known fields. So that based on that we have discovered so many new fields in the Kaffi basin. And similar concept can be applied in that in virgin basins also, new basins all over India. So that is through possible only multidisciplinary integrated geoscientific data, including structural stratigraphy, cuttings and core, geophysical, seismic, 2D, 3D seismic data, geochemical source rock evaluation, logging analysis, petrophysical interpretation, drilling, all rate of penetration, etc. Reservoir, static formation pressure, bottom hole formation, flowing reservoir pressure, etc. Temperature and pressure, PVT analysis, etc. Then production data, production profile. Based on all this, integrating all these data, we reduce the risk of exploration. Then innovative thinking, applying innovative techniques like low resistivity reservoirs and shale resistivity ratio. That we applied because that in some of the fields we are just producing from the known colon phase, middle Eocene, and say fields like Sanan, Jhalora, Kalol, Vadupaliyad, etc. non-horizon column 9 and 10 and 3 and 4 were non-reservoir rocks. So we got oil indication while drilling Cambay Shale. So applying the shale resistivity ratio techniques that was applied in say USA in Gulf of Coast. Normally, as you know, with respect to depth, resistivity increases. But actually, based on the say, if high pressure regime, so the shale gets under pressure. So montmorillonite gets converted into light, it releases water. So that water causes high pressure. So that decreases the resistivity. So if that ratio we find that normal resistivity divided by observed resistivity, so if ratio is between 1.6 to 3, so that interval will be having commercial hydrocarbon accumulation. 3 to 3.5 small occurrence, and more than 3.5 ratio is there, then that will be having non-commercial accumulation. That we were very much applied in so many fields in the Cambay Basin. Then shale correction ratio, as I told, shaly reservoirs and tight, deeper reservoir, they will be having low resistivity, but it does not mean that they don't have hydrocarbons. So for them, we have to apply adequate SW corrections. So if we say normal petrophysical integration indicates your water saturation, say 70 to 90%, we have to apply correction up to 30 to 40%. So 90 minus 40, it becomes the 50%. That becomes oil, good oil saturation actually. So and worth testing. So based on this concept, we have tested and proved in the field. I was discussing hydrodynamic entrapment. This is based on the textbook example. You may be aware that you might have studied also that famous petroleum geology by geologist A.I. Leverson. So in hydrocarbon entrapment, he has discovered Gussow theory. Gussow was a geologist who could come out with this concept. Say in the series of anticlines, when migration of hydrocarbons taking place from the syncline to upward in the anticlines. So first available deeper closure will be having gas, and if still that is not much, then gas and oil. The next oil, gas and oil, and ultimately oil and gas. Ultimately highest will be water. This we have proved as I shown Wadu 1, Wadu 2 and Wadu 4 wells. And these are actually with respect to these geological section have been carried out, and oil water, gas water contacts have been very well just found out on the field. So textbook examples are very much applicable in the field. Whatever knowledge experience we are discussing with you tomorrow, it will become theory and they will be published in the textbooks. So like we are presenting you the case textbook examples proved in the field. Similar stratigraph entrapment we are presenting before you. South Curry field was producing oil and gas in lenticular sand, stratigraphic sand, with restricted aerial extent in Cambay Shale reservoir, in Eocene level actually. So there are 5 sites A, B, C, D, F, H. We are producing oil and gas, but in Karol, middle Eocene level, they were water bearing. So we drilled one well, South Curry 71. It was drilled deeper for the deeper well Cambay Sand reservoir, but Karol, I could see based on the log at Karol page 3 was showing fluorescence in the cuttings and the logs oil bearing. Then I checked with my well-set geologist. I asked him whether you have observed any fluorescence. But I was wondering that he told no sir, nothing. There was no fluorescence at all. I was laughing at him. I know because nowadays people are very much casual in their approach. We used to awake whole night while attending the shift when the drilling was going on. But nowadays people go with their pillows and they sleep in the AC cabin. And they leave on the contingent, that laborer, to bring the samples and don't care that meter wise that fluorescence object. So then I told him, gentlemen, you did not observe fluorescence. I'll show you the oil in the well. So that's what, based on that log, I appraised my direct exploration. Sir, we have got oil in the page 3 at Karol level. I want to get a new well drill for Karol page separately. So that what dual exploration strategy we adopted. We started drilling separate wells for Karol, shallow well up to say 1500 meter or 1500 meter depth. But for deeper Cambay Shale reservoirs, we were drilling up to 2500 meter well depth. So this special well I got drilled for this, we drilled as a South Curry 73. 71 we got oil in on the logs. So we drilled, and similar log feature we observed in that same way, and I asked my geologist to continuously monitor while drilling the Karol page, and he got the fluorescence also. I got the tested well, and we got about 35 to 40 million cubic meter per day of oil. That discovered new page in that old field. So these are the concept finding new oil in old fields. Some shale history days of concept, as I told you. So in the 79, which was water bearing in Kolol pace, that 79 Sanand well, we tested. At that time, we did not plot the shale history plot, and we got tested an interval which is partly falling in the small occurrence, and half of the interval was falling in commercial interval. So, but anyway, that well produced about 15 cubic meter per day of oil. But nearby well, offset well, we drilled Sanand 81. So there, while after just logging only, I got this shale history plot. So these are, on those days, there were no computers. We were just plotting on these log tracing papers and with pen and pencil. And then that well got tested in the first, we got tested the interval which is falling non-commercial zone. And actually that interval did not give anything. Then second objective, we tested in the zone falling in the small commercial zone. That gave us oil influx. And ultimately, after closing the two objects, we tested third final objects in the interval falling in commercial zone between 1.5 to 3, 1.6 to 3, and that produced 35 cubic meter per day of oil. That's what these concepts have been proved very much in the field, and same other fields also. Like that, I'm giving an example of the sealing conditions. There was one area near the Mehsana. We have during ONGC. We had drilled 13 wells in that area, that block. That block was awarded to the company SR Oil and then the British Premier. So I was managing all these head of operations there and head of exploration, general manager. So I was involved on this finding oil and gas. And then we mapped this feature. And then I could carry out well-wise analysis of these 13 dry and abundant wells. And at the time, available seismic data were only paper sections of the 2D. There were no 3D seismic survey carried out on the block. Based on that, I could map that three faults: F1, F2, F3. F1, I could see it's a clear-cut sealing fault, and where down dip of that there was no well drill, and only the wells which were drilled were on the up dip side, where there were no sealing conditions. Faults were open. So whatever hydrocarbon were there, they were escaped through the fault. And then secondly, we applied the concept down dip that there is Parkinson syncline where generated hydrocarbons and move upwards. So this very well much fault closure, what we call it South Unawa. ESU means SR South Unawa 1. So I got it drilled based on the 2D, and then we carry out the 3D also the same. The 3D confirmed the same position there. And we got drilled that we got discovery of oil at multi levels. Kolol pace, Cambridge shale pace, formation level, deeper open level, etc. So these are very interesting examples. Say new technologies. So beside these concepts, now this is the age of technology. Technology key for production of the difficult to find, difficult to produce reservoirs, like which are shaly, not porous and permeable, tighter, deeper, and so-called unconventional reservoir. Unconventional in the sense, you see, as a thumb rule, we can say it's a difference of the permeability. As a thumb rule, if permeability is more than 1 millidarcy, the reservoir will be conventional, because we don't need any artificial fracturing in those reservoirs. They will be able to produce after perfecting only. If permeability is less than 1 millidarcy, then those becomes unconventional. And then, of course, unconventional are larger in aerial extent, and conventional are discrete and restricted aerial locomotions. So like that. So how we applied the new 3D seismic imaging technology, new formation evaluation. Earlier we were just from conventional log, we are applying SW correction and lithological reservoir description of the based on the lithological examination. But now new advanced formation imaging logs were there. Nuclear magnetic spectrometric logs are there, NMRs. So those, based on those logs, we carry out new formation evaluation, log interpretation techniques. Horizontal cluster well drilling. Earlier we were used to drill only vertical wells. You see, in the fields like I was discussing, where we have produced oil from long back from the fractured shale reservoirs. Today the shales have become buzz, shale gas, etc. But long back, 30-40 years back, we have produced oil from these shales. But those concepts are not continued further. So earlier we were struggling either to drill vertical and carry out one hydraulic fracturing by 30 tons of job. And if you're drilling horizontal or deviated well, we are not able to fracture. But now technology is there to drill horizontally to increase the permeability, because horizontal permeability is much more than the vertical permeability, as you know. And then cluster drilling. From the same well pad, we moved 10 meter away from the same area. Basically, we acquired the 100 by 100 meter area for one well drilling. So we from the one rig foundation, we moved next well by 10 meters, that moving the rig foundation in the same area, but that well is drilled directionally horizontally. So that cluster drilling technique we applied in the Motera field, discovering Motera field, where that this international cricket stadium is there in Motera in Ahmedabad. So that in front of the Motera stadium, we have got 3 wells which are put on the Sakar Road pump, SRP. So at the surface, they are 10 meters apart, but underground, in the at reservoir level, say 15 meters, 50 meter depth, they are 350 to 450 meter apart. So that is what we call it cluster drilling in a horizontal well drilling techniques. So multi-stage hydrofracturing. Earlier we used to carry out fracturing of the one zone, but now the technology is there to drill horizontally also, and then carry out multi-stage fracturing, 8, 10, 15, even up to 15 hydrofracturing were carried out in one well in countries like USA and Canada. But we have also applied that same techniques. We have carried out 8 stages of fracturing in one of the in Cambrai Basin well. The microseismic acquisition and monitoring. So far, we are carrying out seismic survey, 3D seismic survey, all in the block and field. But now, well-wise microseismic data are acquired, and reservoir monitoring, how the reservoir characteristics are behaving. Sorry, around the field. And then extended person testing. We provide long time so that reservoir gets active, because the impermeable reservoir takes time to get coaxed. So earlier we have left so well inconclusively tested, and which if could have been tested properly, they could have been oil and gas bearing. As I gave example of the finding oil among 13 drilled and abandoned wells, some of the wells which were inconclusively tested, so tested just 10 to 15 hours after they just carried out water testing analysis and told that this water it's a fresh water, and declared that well is water. No, then I could see if properly that some 3 to 4 days would have been given, that reservoir could have become active, and salinity of that water could have been more than 3.55, 5 to 6 water bearing layers are having what salinity of 5 to 6, more than 3, and if fresh water 1.5 to 3. So these are very good leads, but we have to take into consideration. And reservoir analysis, of course, what kind of formation pressure, the reservoir pressure, flowing pressure, temperature, pressure, pressure, volume, temperature analysis, etc. This is the 3D seismic section of that well that we drilled in Cambrai 76, that as a proof of concept horizontal well we drilled. So here almost 835 meter horizontal section we drilled in the reservoir column 9, and we carried out 8 stages of fracturing. And left side that surface profile, this underground profile, and nearby there one vertical 63, Cambrai 63, that gave oil influx, but no hydrofracturing done at that time. Formation evaluation, as I told you, sophisticated technique based on the using old and modern logs, density, neutron porosity, etc. We applied, and we could find out reservoir at different levels in Cambrai shale or column formation. Horizontal well, this is schematic representation of that well, where we drill horizontal up to 835 meter horizontal section, and we carried 8 hydrofracturing section, and one stage itself was of 135 million tons, metric tons of the propellant sand we used in the fracturing. So massive hydrofracturing we carried out. So based on all this, we can summarize that what we exploration strategy we should adopt. So we have proposed integrated exploration studies based on that well-wise, field-wise, basin-wise studies, and adopting new concept, new technologies, as we proved in Cambrai Basin. Then simultaneous exploration development of conventional oil and gas and unconventional shale gas and CBM. Earlier, you will be wondering that the government was coming out separate policy, of course there is separate policy for methane. We have just copy paste from other, but we have not totally copied from the other countries like USA. And shale gas, they were coming out with the separate policy. With our intervention, we told that you see, hydrocarbons are the same whether it's coal bed reservoirs or shale reservoirs or sand reservoirs. We can't distinguish separately if it's only having shale or it will not having shale, because depending on depth and maturity, oil gas generation window is there. Say oil generation window 60 to 90 degrees centigrade, 90 to 120 degrees gas generation, and more than 120 degrees of dry window. So it's not essentially shale gas, even shale oil. So we have produced oil from that shale. So like that, government considered our views and came out with that HELP. From the NELP, new exploration licensing policy, we move to hydrocarbon exploration licensing policy, where we are allowed to test any kind of reservoir, whether it is coal beds or shale reservoir or sand reservoirs in the same area, and then open acreage licensing policy also. Then our objective should be reserve acquisition, production enhancement. That is our key objective, what we have applied in the Ahmedabad project of Cambition. So both ways, not only by drilling new wells, as well as old wells which have been seized or poor producers or abandoned, we should see the potential if they have got some new horizons. So old well workout testing and new well drilling is very much important, so that we should be able to have optimum, efficient, healthy reserve replacement or ratio of 1. Today it has been, reserve replacement has gone down negative, and we are depleting our resource. Earlier, whatever we were producing, we were replacing by the resource. So RNP ratio we are keeping healthy with 1. So that should be our objective. Then implement the second, your government is coming out, enhanced oil recovery, improved oil recovery techniques in oil fields. But that EOR secondary recovery methods should be applied very well while developing the field itself. We were applying those secondary recovery methods after 30, 40 years of production. But these secondary recovery schemes should be applied while starting production itself, so that reservoir pressures are maintained and production is enhanced. Thank you. That's what all about this. So you can ask whatever possible questions are there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and such a lucid and insightful talk on this important topic. I also would like to thanks everyone for joining us.